Today is the day. I shall fulfill my promise. Welcome to my official handmade noodles tutorial, where I finally make noodles with water. In this video, I will share the formula for a basic noodle dough, how to transform said dough into noodles, and finally, very simple recipes to showcase the fresh noodles we've made as a dish. You ready? Let's go! Now, the standard serving per person would be 100 grams of all-purpose flour. I will be making 2 servings today, which later you'll see why. So we're gonna start with 200 grams of all-purpose flour. I repeat, just regular, normal, all-purpose flour. Of course, you will need a few additional grams of flour for dusting later. For each 100 grams of flour, you'll also need a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And since we're working with 200 grams, we'll just double the amount. Finally, the water. Normal water this time. For each 100 grams of flour, you'll need roughly 3 tablespoons of water. And just like the salt, we're doubling the amount of water needed as well. Some brands of flour tend to acquire more or less hydration than others. If that happens to be the case for you, leave at least half a tablespoon of water aside in case you need it. Otherwise, 3 tablespoons should be enough. That's all you need. For future reference, feel free to screenshot your screen right now. Okay, let's start. Add your flour into a mixing bowl, then add the salt and give it a little mix. You can use a fork, a whisk, chopsticks, or even your fingers. But my personal favorite would be chopsticks. Better control and easier to clean afterwards. Now we add the water by intervals, alright? Don't immediately flood your mixing bowl. I've added the first half, now in goes the rest of it. It should look nice and flaky like this. Now we can start kneading. Knead the dough inside your mixing bowl first, because if you immediately dunk the entire content on your counter, you'll create a mess. When it's all in one clump like this, you can start kneading it on the counter or any work surface you have. Just make sure you clean the work surface first, unless of course you want to start another global pandemic. This, at least to me, is the most labor-intensive part. You gotta knead your dough for a solid 5 minutes. When kneading, make sure you're pressing it with this area of your hand. It's like our all-natural built-in hammer right here. It may look ugly and crusty at first, but trust me, it'll start to look better as you knead. Trust the process. And if your hand's getting tired, don't worry, it's completely normal. Just use your other hand. As long as it gets the job done, it doesn't matter which hand you're using. Ooh, 5 minutes have passed. Now we're gonna rest the dough for 30 minutes minimum. You can just place a bowl over it, or put it in a bowl and cover the top, or wrap the dough with a saran wrap, or my personal favorite, just keep it in a plastic food bag. So let's say you want to prepare some ingredients for a noodle dish. Now's the time to do it while the dough is resting. And that's how you make a noodle dough. Wakey wakey! 30 minutes have passed. Let's turn this into noodles. Now here's why I'm making 2 servings. I want to show y'all that when it comes to noodle making, the thickness level of the noodles matter, as it heavily depends on how you're planning to incorporate it into a dish. Is it a soup dish? Is it a stir-fried dish? Or is it simply a thick, poured-over sauce dish like jajangmyeon, or like the tomato egg noodle dish I've shared on my channel? If you're making a soup dish, thinner noodles tend to be more ideal because they absorb the flavor of the broth more easily. But for stir-fried dishes, noodles that are on the thicker side works better during all the tossing and stirring, keeping the noodles intact without breaking apart. You get what I mean? As for thick, poured-over sauces, both types of noodles are fine. So, let's cut this dough in half, and we're gonna make 1 serving on the thinner side and 1 on the thicker side. In the meantime, we'll keep this aside. Let's make the thin one first because it's a little more labor-intensive. Before rolling, give the dough a little more kneading, not too long, just about a few seconds. Dust it with a bit of flour, and now we go. Now, most people roll it into a circular shape. I personally don't recommend this. Instead, I suggest you try to roll it into an oval shape, because as you can see, oval is much more practical than circular because from the shorter end, it has a much less surface area for you to cut, minimizing your effort. And the benefit from the longer end is that you get to make longer strands of noodles. And everyone knows the longer the better. The noodles I meant. Visual learners, your dough should be about this thin. Now, thus abundantly, and fold it like this. Bigger surface area at the bottom, slowly tapering to a smaller surface area at the top. From this point of view, it should look something like this. Don't fold it like this, or the sheet would be wonky as you cut it. Do it this way, and the noodle sheet would stay in place as you cut. If you want to fold it like this, it's fine too, but it's going to be more difficult to loosen and unfold the noodle strands later. So this is the best way to fold. A crucial step in cutting noodle dough is to do it with a really sharp knife. So be sure to sharpen it first if it's dull. Now, when you're cutting, don't force it downwards like you're cutting a birthday cake. If you do that, the pressure of the knife could bind the noodle sheets together, causing you some trouble to unfold it later. And it would be much worse if your knife is dull. Instead, apply just a light amount of force while slicing back and forth. And by doing that, it unfolds a lot easier. See? Now, carry on with the cutting, and bear in mind that we're making the thinner version. So cut each strand between 2 millimeters to 4 millimeters apart. Some pros could go way thinner than that, but come on. Home cooks like us, this is good enough. Oh good, you're still here with me. Now, after cutting carbs, literally, toss a bit more flour so the noodles won't stick to each other, and simply toss it around to start unfolding and loosening the strands like this. I like to organize each noodle strands like this for aesthetic reasons. Finally, we run it through the excess flour, letting it coat each strand, and done. Looks pretty okay, I guess. Now that the first portion's done, we set this aside and work with our next one. Okay, now this one's for the thicker type of noodles. Same process, only this time, don't need to roll it out too thin. Same cutting process, only this time cut a little bit further apart from each strand, like between 3 millimeters to 5 millimeters instead. Same thing as earlier, toss to unfold. Boom! Thicker noodles! And there you have it, your very own plate of fresh handmade noodles. One on the thinner side and one on the thicker. See the difference? Now don't go anywhere because the lesson doesn't stop here. I'm going to show you how to cook these and the ways of serving noodles of these types. Let's work with the thin one first, aka the one that's best for soup and broth dishes. Add some salt to the water. No need to make it too salty though. We're going to boil the thin ones for 2 to 3 minutes. In the meantime, we need some soup base so I can show you how to serve it. Here's a super simple recipe. Bit of like soy, chili oil, just a little splash of black vinegar, chopped scallions, and chicken broth. You can use any broth you like. Water and bouillon cubes work fine too. When the noodles are done, strain it well and simply add it directly into the soup. You can have it like this or add in your favorite toppings, like a fried egg, bok choy, and store-bought fried shallots for garnish. And there you have it, a hearty bowl of noodle soup. Now it's time to work with the thicker noodles. Same thing, salt the water first, and cook your thicker noodles a little longer than the thinner ones. Around 3 to 4 minutes this time. Important note here, the process for making stir-fried fresh handmade noodles is a little different, okay? So watch closely. When it's done, strain it, and for this one you need to rinse it. This is a crucial step to prevent it from overcooking. When it's finally at room temperature, strain it again, and add it to a bowl and mix it in with a little bit of cooking oil. Now for some wok hay action. With some oil, scramble an egg. Oh, I'm sorry, is that too much of oil? You want to eat good, you gotta cook good, fam. Mince shallots and garlic in. I know there's already an egg in here, but I also like chicken, so we're gonna add some now. Just some thinly sliced chicken breasts marinated in salt and a little bit of curry and chili powder. Now for the seasoning sauce. This is a mixture of light soy, dark soy, oyster sauce, sweet chili sauce, and some sugar to balance the saltiness. Now for some veggies, because we gotta be healthy. These are mustard greens, aka sawi mleg, and veggies should be one of the last ingredients to prevent overcooking. And finally, the noodles we've prepared. Yoink! No need to stir fry for too long, just enough until it coats everything. This is optional, but you can add some chili oil if you want it spicy. Done! Pardon my plating, I am not good at food presentation. There you have it, folks. Now everyone can enjoy fresh handmade noodles from the comfort of their own homes. And the best part is that you really don't need any expensive equipment at all. Sure, the beauty of these noodles couldn't be matched with the ones made with a machine, but to me, sometimes seeing some strand of noodles being thicker or thinner than the other is what makes it unique. It's a labor of love, and that is something machines could never provide. So that's the end of the video. Hope I covered everything, and I will see you all in the near future. Happy noodling, noodle fams. Now, which one should I eat first?